welcome back to another Honcast.com presentation on Breaky CPK. Once again, going to be your shoutcasting host, and joining me this time once again is Hippie of the Honcast staff, as well as special guest Fresh Pro from Clan Fnatic MSI going to be joining us. And this is the GosuGamers main event losers bracket here. We have Imp taking on DDT here again, round 2 or round 3, I believe, of the losers bracket. So obviously you lose here, you're done, unfortunately. You win here, you just barely stay alive, and you try to make as much money as possible throughout the event. Of course, it's a $40,000 main event, a lot of fun, and there's been some awesome matches so far, and I'm sure it's going to continue to be a great event. And we had a game 1 here. Imp actually taking game 1 over DDT. They ran the Gladiator trial in. Of course, Fresh Pro definitely familiar with that with his team over there in Fnatic MSI. But Imp ran it solid themselves, and DDT, some mistakes you can say, but in the end, Imp just played very well, very deserving of that victory. So they are up 1-0 here now in this best of 3 series, coming into game 2. But first things first, how you doing, Hippie?
Doing good. Absolutely fantastic game 1. Like you said, DDT, maybe some early mistakes. Fantastic play from both teams throughout the mid and late game, however, especially from Imp. And I want to see Porch pull some amazing bullcrap like he did as Behemoth in the woods, because that was awesome.
That was arguably the highlight of that game 1 there, despite DDT losing, of course. Porch definitely did an awesome job on the Behemoth play that time around, and was very entertaining, excuse me. Like I said, though, also joined by Fresh Pro of Clan Fnatic MSI for his competitive insight. Always fun to have you on. How you doing, Fresh?
Hey friends, I'm doing good. I'm excited to watch Imp, as I remember that I'm pretty sure they actually took a map from us in this tournament or another, so they're definitely a good team. And yeah, as you said, they used a really, in my opinion, really good lineup, and really similar lineup to ours in previous games. So it's looking to be an exciting game, I think.
Yeah. So again, we'll talk about more than the game, I guess. But well, actually, no, real quickly. I mean, again, they ran the Gladiator trial in. It sounds like you watched their first game at least. Were you impressed by their play in that game? I mean, do you think they ran the Gladiator trial lane just fine?
Oh, I didn't pay attention to the whole game. It was more like on and off, because I was eating my breakfast meanwhile, so I can't really say that. Sorry.
That's all good. Wait, eating your breakfast? Isn't it like 9 o'clock over there in the evening?
Oh yeah, but I have sort of a weird sleeping cycle, I guess.
All right.
And after my own heart.
Interesting. All right. Well, now we know the sleep cycle of Fresh Pro right there. All right. So, anyways, good morning to you then, Fresh Pro. It sounds like would be a better statement to say, despite it being 9 or 10 p.m. over there. But anyways, let's jump into the game. Let's go over the picks and bans here. Obviously, starting with the bans. Again, always curious to see in the best of the 3 series how they play out. We have Soul Stealer, Wretched Hag, Devour, Pebbles. Those are the same bans as last time. I believe Thunderbringer was as well, in fact. The only different ban this time is actually Dr. Repulsor. Again, we saw last game, Imp, they just, as you usually expect, and why we see him banned so much, just such a powerful hero. He starts moving around. It's so difficult to stop him. And DDT, of course, allowing them to pick him up with the first pick. Obviously they were confident that maybe their strategy would work in the end, and it clearly did not. So now they just go ahead and ban. I believe they banned him, actually. I do have all the bans here. Yeah, of course, DDT, they banned Dr. Repulsor. Other than that, though, the same bans. We don't see a ban on Gladiator. We don't see a ban on Plague Rot even. I mean, some heroes that were pretty powerful last game. So a little bit interesting there. But what do you think about these bans, Hippie?
I pretty much not much that we haven't said already. I'm still interested to see Wretched Hag banned over maybe Witchslayer. I think Witchslayer is a more powerful overall hero. But actually DDT banning Wretched Hag. So I guess there's got to be someone on Imp. They must have studied these guys. I'm looking through their most played heroes, looking for a Wretched Hag, and not seeing one. But at the same time, it's not that she's not a powerful hero. I just think there are some slightly better bans you can make, and I think you can cope with a Wretched Hag better than you can cope with some other heroes. For instance, the Repulsor that wasn't banned last game, and I think Witchslayer is one of those heroes that's just so incredibly useful against every single lineup that it bothers me not to see him banned.
Yeah, it is a very interesting. Again, the Wretched Hag, like we talked about last game, it's one of those. You clearly did your research, and you feel that Imp definitely is very powerful with that hero, and you don't want to have to deal with it as a result of that. Fresh, I mean, what are your thoughts on these bans?
Well, I think Hibby made a pretty good overall view, because I was kind of gonna say like the same thing as he was. Like even if a team plays like a really good Wretched Hag, it's not really that ban worthy, because there's so many choices that you can make to counter that, and it's, yeah, as you said, it's not really worth a ban. And the Soul Stealer ban, you know, that's a good one, and the rest, it's kind of like the standard bans.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. I mean, pretty standard. Obviously, the Wretched Hag, though, is the only one. And then more so, like I talked about, I mean, not seeing the Gladiator ban and, you know, like you said, not seeing Witchslayer instead of something like a Wretched Hag. But despite Gladiator not being banned, of course, I'm staying away from that, and they have all their 5 picks gone, and they chose to go a little bit different this time. But still, it looks like they're very likely going to be running a strength carry trial lane, just a different hero. Instead, they're going with Plague Rider, Malakin, Witchslayer, Pharaoh, and Bombardier. So how about that? I mean, the Gladiator's still on the board. It worked very well for them last game. But, you know, changing it up this time around, choosing to go with the Malakin instead. Again, this is great that we see another team actually doing similar strategies to your team, Fresh, Fnatic MSI, and they were successful with the last game. So it's, you know, we definitely expect some good things out of them this time around. Of course, with that said, we'll more than likely see Bombardier solo, more than likely mid, and then Pharaoh at the long lane up top is what you would expect to see, just from what we're so used to seeing. But, you know, we've never seen a Malakin trial lane other than Fnatic MSI, so as I said before, always fun to see another team try it out, and we'll see what they can make happen of it. But Hippie, how you liking the Legion team over here?
I do like them. I like the Malakin initiation and the Pharaoh initiation, again, two of those non-blink initiators that I'm such a big fan of. Hellbringer not picked up by either team, kind of interesting, because I think he's just such an incredibly powerful hero, and I don't know why he isn't picked more often. But, very, very good team fight. I love Bombardier. I've been playing a lot of him recently. He can put out so much damage. Obviously, we've seen, I believe it's No Tail, correct me if I'm wrong, Fresh, but who usually plays Bombardier for MSI and just does so much damage, racks up so many kills throughout the course of a game, dominates the mid lane. And just a lot of good overall power. I don't see any area they're specifically lacking in. Malakin is a very powerful carry. They have very good gank between Pharaoh and Witchslayer. Very, very powerful team fight abilities. And, I mean, solid lanes. Although, once again, Fresh, maybe you can enlighten me on this, but I question Plague Rider in a tri-lane simply because I think he needs levels a lot more than most of the tri-lane supports we see.
Well, I got a lot to say about this Legion team, but first the Plague Rider. I know we haven't run Plague Rider like ever with this new MSI lineup, and it might be of the reason that you say that, yeah, he needs some level to get the so he's distinguished, so he can use it more often and use more of the contagion harass. But I still think he's pretty good. Not just like saying he's a good on trialing, but he fits very good into this lineup. And as I was going to mention, it's gonna come down to a lot with the Pharaoh initiation, because once you get those mummies off, you got the Bombardier ultimate, and it synergizes so damn well with the Pharaoh. And also the Plague Rider, because if you catch 2 people, then you get the Plague Rider ultimate in, and boom, they're dead. And almost same thing with Bombardier ultimate. So Plague Rider, it can definitely work out if they get a good early game. But their overall team, they have, as you already said, Malakin, that's like one carry. But then the rest is just coming down to pure team fight synergy. And I just hope that we get to see like a team fight. Well, they would do that.
Oh yeah, they definitely got that, and we did see some good Plague Rider ultimates with the likes of Bubbles as well. Similar, obviously not the same thing to a Pharaoh, but similar in the sense he gets kind of some heroes grouped up, and a Plague Rider ultimate can be very effective as a result of that. We're seeing the same strategy, in fact, this time around as well from Imp. They're choosing to go with the 3-1-1 kind of in the jungle rather than, or 3-1-0, or even 4-1-0, I guess you can call it, whatever you want to call it. They're having the jungle Pharaoh rather than him being at the top lane. Now, I mean, of course, you, Fresh, this is a role you usually tend to play, is a Pharaoh in these type of strategies, playing the numbers disadvantage. What are your thoughts on him deciding to jungle just right off the bat rather than being involved anywhere in that tri-lane up top?
Well, first of all, you gotta look at what heroes you're up against, because if it's like, as you see, a Sand Wraith, then you can't really do anything early game. But then again, they're really... Oh, we missed the Bloodlust kill at bottom with Malakin diving, and the blue guy, Plague, riding back the kill. But anyway, it sort of depends. You can go, in most cases, to the jungle right off the bat, but then you gotta look out for the lane pushing, because it's as soon as there's like 2 range creeps, you have to get a TP so you can be there and get all the experience as soon as they push the tower. So overall, yeah, sure, why not?
Oh god, Malakin might be going down right here. Voodoo Jester going to chase him down. One more auto attack. Yes, he gets the kill, but he's going to sacrifice himself to do so. But hey, I'm sure he'll take that any day as long as he can exchange his life for a kill on Malakin. Very good chase on his part. I mean, he chased it for quite a while right there. And I was watching that the whole time, and in the end, Malakin just could not get away. Just the movement speed was not working for him. And, of course, that really high auto attack damage from Voodoo Jester really did it in. So well played right there from Voodoo Jester. But, yeah, seeing this Pharaoh just jungle off the bat, like you said, it's definitely just has to keep an eye on that top lane, because Sand Wraith, not a hero necessarily you want to let just get crazy free farm and just have ultimate control of a lane, because, as we've seen several times, and clearly a hero that could just really take over and not look back. So I'm sure Imp, just like last time, they did a good job of setting up some successful ganks earlier on in the game. They'll start moving around and focus on that Sand Wraith. Keep an eye on him. Let's talk on the Hellborn team now. We haven't actually touched on them yet, so real quickly. We are looking at Sand Wraith, Bubbles, Andromeda, Voodoo Jester, and Valkyrie. Very squishy team, the first thing that stands out to me, other than, of course, Sand Wraith. Who starts off squishy, you could say, but obviously you expect him to get fairly tanky as the game goes on. We do have a little bit of action here in the middle lane with back and forth, nothing too much of it though. But overall team, again, we just got finished talking about Sand Wraith. He is having free farm at this top lane, so clearly he will be a factor, at least from what it looks like from now. Bubbles, an excellent hero. He's forced to, jungle though, similar to Pharaoh, because of the trial lane being ran at the bottom lane, and then Valkyrie actually taking the middle duties, where Voodoo Jester and Andromeda are both really just playing roamers at this point, kind of going around. They only have 1 kill so far, however. It's a little bit unfortunate there, but they are playing some roamers and putting up some defense. But Hellborn team, though, what do you think about them, Hippie?
Not quite as much teamfight power as the Legion. They still have perfectly good teamfight between Bubbles and Sand Wraith. A lot of good presence there. Good heals from Voodoo Jester. Obviously, the stun, very effective. And the Valkyrie ultimate can be a great initiation tool as well as a great escape tool if someone gets caught off guard. But definitely not the pure teamfight AoE power we see over here on the Legion team. I mean, you can't really compete with Bombardier, Plague Rider, Malakin unless you have, obviously, an equally menacing, ridiculous AoE initiation, stun everyone, slow everyone sort of thing. But by that same token, they definitely don't have a bad team. Bubbles, again, is one of those great heroes at disrupting a team fight, at controlling a team fight. Very, very powerful in that respect with his silence and his kelp field. And we still have the dimensional link from Andromeda will be very helpful, and I think what they're going to need to do here is play a more active type of strategy, roam, gank, try to pick off one of those key teamfight heroes from the Legion, and then start the fight, because they really have the ability to do that with the heroes they picked, I feel.
We're about to pause the game here, but initiation here in the middle lane actually on Bombardier, taking a lot of pressure after the double stun. Going to drop to half-life. Going to be fine, though. Andromeda not able to get there in time, and the pause going to go through. So while we're sitting in this real quickly, Fresh Pro, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on DDT's lineup?
Well, as CB pointed out, if Bubbles does get a good ultimate out on the people, you know, Sandray follow-ups with the ultimate and it's going to deal a buttload of damage, but compared to the Legion team, they're so super squishy, and it's going to come down to they have to make a super good initiate to win like 5-on-5 team fights, because else Plague Rider ultimate, you know, you just look at every single hero in the Legion and they're just going to walk over them like it's a walk in the park. So the Hellborn team, they definitely got a tough game to win. And also, they do have one good thing, and that is the Sandwraith farming top, because if I was Legion, I would want my tri-lane to go up against the Sandwraith tri-lane, because obviously he's not gonna get more farm than a Malkin. But, you know, it should make the game exciting.
Yeah, the funny thing about that is, as we are resuming now, by the way, we never did a sync up. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. I just remembered that. I'm going by the in-game counter. So I'm at 545, 46, 47, 48, 49,
Good.
50. Think you're good, Fresh?
I'm the best, yo.
Of course you are. Why did I ask that? Alright, so, but no, in the beginning of the game, the Legion team, that they did have their tri-lane up here. I mean, obviously it was more than likely just for a top rune gank, but it almost looked like they were actually going to send their tri-lane to the top to match it up against the Sandwraith tri-lane, but, and like you suggested, that may have been a smart idea. You know, they could definitely do very well against it, but choosing to just send him to bottom, and, well, Malakin is getting a free farm, albeit he's 2-level disadvantage, so obviously he's been both Plague Rider and Witchslayer have maybe been nearby some of these creep kills, nerfing his experience, where Sandwraith, on the other hand, he's literally been one versus nobody. His support has not been anywhere near him, like we were talking about earlier. They've really just been roaming this whole time and doing some creep pulls, doing a little bit of jungling. And the Legion team, they have not sent anyone up here until really now. We see Pharaoh kind of sitting next to the tower, but obviously what is he going to do at this point? I mean, he's only level 3 compared to what is now a level 7 Sandwraith, who has his level 2 Dissipate, so going that route instead of the Deserter. We see it kind of on and off with those two style of builds, it seems like, whenever we see Sandwraith, but this one going for the Dissipate early on. But yeah, so right now, obviously the key factor to look at is the gold farm and how are they doing. Sandwraith has a 40 gold per minute lead over this Malakin. And Malakin, yes, he did die earlier on, so obviously that's ultimately maybe what's slowing him down. But the Sandwraith is starting to slowly but surely get out of hand, as he's very likely going to go for a Helm of the Black Legion first, it looks like, already with the Life Tube and, of course, the Iron Buckler. But Pharaoh is up here just harassing as much as possible and getting some creep farm in himself. Of course, falling a little bit behind farm early game, so wants to recover. So Imp having the hero kill lead right now, albeit it's only 2-1, of course, and nothing big by any means. It's hard to say who has the overall advantage. Again, it's still very early on, only 8 minutes in. But I am worried about the Sandwraith for Imp. It's a very, very scary hero, and I keep going back to because we've seen it so many times. Just really, really take over games. So really need to be wary of that. And they have yet to set up any style of ganks on him. Bombardier, by the way, he's level 6 right now. Actually, well, it is the same level as Valkyrie pretty much. Both just about to hit level 7, so. But he has had some partners nearby, so of course nerfing his experience. But with that said, Sandwraith is level 8 by far. In fact, at this point, a 2-level advantage over anyone on the Legion team. Well, now just 1 level Bombardier just level, but still, that's another big sign to look at. But yeah, really curious to see when Imp at this point is going to start moving around, especially start to focus perhaps on that Sandwraith, pick up some kills on him.
You know, we actually see Sandwraith already with his helm at about 8 minutes. He picked that up. That's a fast helm. I mean, obviously, when you're going 1 versus nobody, you can pick stuff up like that. We do see Malakin diving in on a Bubbles and Plague Rider taking the kill again. But at the same time, Malakin getting a little extra experience, getting the assist gold, getting some tower damage in so they can push up on the tower later, take that out. Never a bad thing. Ooh, I wonder if he's getting an Insanitarius with that Helm of the Victim.
Who's that? Oh, Malakin? I mean, the more popular route used tends to be the Whispering Helm, of course, but obviously that is an option with the Helm of the Victim, so we'll see. Andromeda getting caught out in the jungle here. Hex comes out, missing the sticky bomb Bombardier. He's actually had a couple of misses. In fact, I don't even know if I've seen him hit one, to be honest. Again, it isn't the easiest to land, and at the same time, you do have to remember they are playing from Southeast Asia, and I'm sure their latency isn't the greatest. Playing on a US West server, I'm sure it's around 200 or so, so definitely take that into consideration. But this Bombardier has definitely been missing quite a bit of those sticky bombs, and definitely something that can hurt the hero. And, well, that's another thing to talk about, too. I mean, you know going into the game that you're going to have a latency disadvantage. As, by the way, Bubbles once again gets taken. I apologize for missing that action down there, but once again, Malikan and Plaguerat are just too much between that Sword Throw, Contagion, Nuke combination. As Malikan very likely going to finish. Yeah, he just finished his Whispering Helm right there. But that is something you have to take in mind, being a team from Southeast Asia, you know, playing knowing that you're going to have a latency disadvantage. Actually, well, we have Fresh here. I'll bring that question up to you, Fresh. I mean, whenever you're playing on an American server, playing against an American team, do you take that in consideration in terms of what heroes you actually pick up? Like, skill shot heroes, obviously, maybe not as much because it relies on a pretty good latency. I mean, does that come into play ever?
Nah, I don't. As far as I remember, we've never picked, like, when we faced EG or some other team from the US, we've never thought like, oh, we should pick this hero because he's easier to hide. Like, I don't know. We've never tried that. We rather just pick what we think is best, and if it lags a lot, we're just gonna bitch a little and then get over it.
That's a good strategy, but no, I do find that a little bit surprising, to be honest, because I would figure like some heroes like this Bombardier, you know, you take that in consideration. Maybe it's not as easy to land those sticky bombs and whatnot because of the 200 latency rather than something like 80 or 60, what you're so used to. So, but if that's the case, and that is the case, of course, you're the pro. Andromeda is going to be this bottom lane. I mean, anyone that this Hellborn team sends down here between the double slow is just really doing it, and obviously the point from Malikan, they just easily pick up a kill. So as far as if I was DDT at this point, I would be thinking, let's stop sending players down here by themselves, and let's at least have a group of players. On the same token, though, Plaguerat has gotten 3 of those hero kills, so that's a little bit unfortunate right there. Obviously, maybe 1 is fine, but you would like to have the majority to go to Malikan in this case, but at least they're getting the kills, and of course Malikan being nearby gets some assistance there. But Plaguerat is getting some nice farm out of it. Gank there on a Valkyrie, trying to go for the Tablet of Haste. Could not get there in time, however. In the meantime, Sandwraith taking this top tower. You see Witchslayer throw out a Graveyard Sun, and Sandwraith is like, okay. Tormented Soul comes in, not going to do too much, and Sandwraith just falls back just fine. He's now finished his Steam Boots as well, so this Sandwraith now up to 331 gold per minute. Actually, not as high as Malikan anymore. Malikan has passed him off. Pharaoh initiating here in the middle lane onto Andromeda. Mummy Wall goes up. That's a cocktail, though, bouncing around, and Andromeda will survive. Great support there from Voodoo Jester, and you also see the ultimate coming out from Sandwraith. He actually ports in on top of Pharaoh right here. One more auto attack should do it from behind. There we go. Kill for Sandwraith. Good job right there. So, although the hero kill advantage by far in favor of the Legion team at this point, 7-2. This Sandwraith shown right there. He's, of course, with his ultimate now, he can port anywhere that needs to be to chase players down and set up some kills. And in fact, now he's here at the bottom lane, going 1v1 with this Malikan, and Malikan is actually falling back a little bit. So Sandwraith feeling confident already just with his Helm of the Black Legion and Steam Boots, and kind of tanking this Malikan. Andromeda nearby trying to bait Malikan, but Malikan playing the smart way and not going to have any of that. But the Sandwraith already showing some of his power.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the ability to... One of the nice things about Sandwraith is even though he's not particularly great at setting up his own kills, he has the slow early game, but it's not particularly powerful, and if he doesn't have the auto attack damage to finish people off, it can be a bit of a problem to just get kills in lane, unless you have a very, very strong lane partner. But at the same time, if anyone else is getting a kill or just barely missing a kill, you can jump right on in there and take the kill, get your Sandwraith that little bit of extra farm, and then go right back to farming creeps. It doesn't require the kind of time tax and farm tax that has to be paid by any other hero when they have to switch lanes. He doesn't even need to spend the 135 gold on the TP scroll that everyone else has to spend. He just hits his Mirage, ports in, gets the kill, goes right back to farming. It's a very, very efficient way to pick up a few extra hero kills on the side while not losing out on much creep farm time.
That was pretty damn funny. Bombardier laid down a sticky bomb in the middle of the in the middle of the path for Bubbles, who was walking back. You know, you gotta pay attention. I don't know how you couldn't see that bomb right there, and he just kind of just walked right into it. And Bombardier's like, all right, I'm going to explode this and you will die. And sure enough, that's what happened. So Bubbles just either just was paying attention to back here, you know, clicking over here or something, but clearly wasn't paying fully attention to himself. And ended up getting taken out. So Bombardier doesn't need to land his bombs if he's just going to have that situation pop up for him. But actually, speaking back of Bombardier and really this middle lane again, Valkyrie, between him and Valkyrie, Bombardier currently sitting 265 gold per minute, so he is doing a really good job of picking up the farm. Valkyrie only at 203, so arguably Bombardier is winning that middle lane, looking at those stats. Andromeda and Voodoo Jester, though, again, at the same time, have been spending a lot of time really just moving around, looking to set up ganks, and as a result, of course, their levels have been nerfed a little bit. They are both level 4 at this point. Actually, Voodoo Jester just leveled, but you get my point right there. Sandwraith falling back at this time, actually. Going to get some regen going on. 1,600 plus life. At this point, do you expect to see a Mock of Brilliance on Sandwraith Fresh?
You can either go... I think you have like 2 builds for Sandwraith. After you got the Steam Boots and the Helm of the Black Legion, you either go for the Nullifier Blade, or you go for, as you said, a Mock of Brilliance. And it's kind of hard to say when you need to use one or the other, but I think personally Mock of Brilliance is my favorite choice. And then after that you can build like a Nullifier Blade and then make a Frostwolf. That's like the perfect Sandwraith build for me.
Yeah, and the other beneficial thing, of course, about a Nullifier Blade, other than the slow, which is obviously what people obviously really like it for, the Purge effect, and you're going up against a hero like a Plague Rider who applies that Cursed Shield, especially later on in the game. You know, you're looking at, I believe it's something like plus 12 armor later on in the game, and that's quite a bit of damn physical armor, and obviously for someone like a Sandwraith who's relying a good chunk of damage for his own physical, albeit he does have also the magic damage thrown in there, but you know, if he can get rid of that armor on the target he is attacking, then it can definitely be a huge plus as well. So, yeah, I could definitely see Nullifier Blade being an effective pickup for that reason as well. And we'll see as Bubbles, once again, he's really just having troubles throughout this game. Now, his 5th death of the game, in fact, for Porch. It's kind of funny because we were talking about that pre-game, how he obviously had the awesome Behemoth game last time, that awesome sequence. This game, though, not doing too well on Bubbles, unfortunately for him. Hopefully he can recover, though. Definitely a hero that this Legion or the Hellborn team really needs to do well, on top of the Sandwraith already doing very, very well himself. Valkyrie setting up here. They want to set up a defense, save this tower. 4 players here for the Legion team, though, so obviously numbers advantage for them. Malikan is not here, however. He is still at the bottom lane. He's been living down here just pushing. Now picking up a Mighty Blade, so clearly going for that Shrunken Head to go with his early lifesteal. A very popular combination right there. And the Legion team decided to fall back. Not really worth it. There is a triple stacked Ancient camp, though, and we'll see Malikan, I'm sure, do that in the near future. How about this Shrunken Head pickup, though, from Malikan? You guys like it?
I do. I think Malikan has enough on his damage passive that he can afford to go for the quick life steal and the Shrunken Head, especially with all the magic damage that's coming out from this Hellborn team. You don't have to worry too much about Sandwraith's physical damage until much later in the game. And so, mostly what you're worried about right now is CC coming out from Voodoo Jester, Valkyrie, the silence from Bubbles, all that sort of stuff that would inhibit your getaways, inhibit your teamfight presence. So I think the quick Shrunken Head is absolutely a great pick for Malikan here.
Yeah, quite what Hebe said, and it's like you're kind of saying, okay, Sandwraith, you're not gonna deal damage to me early game, and compared to his Malikan's lifesteal, he's not gonna hurt him one bit. And then you look at all the 4 other heroes, when he has his Shrunken Head activated, they're not even gonna poke at him. I mean, there's just no use. He's got like 10-second invulnerability, so yeah, I'd say it's a definitely good early pickup, because they need to win the early/mid game a lot, so it doesn't go into the game doesn't scale into late game where Sandwraith always going to be a pain in the ass.
Now, what about this evident pickup. Again, it could be different, but from the looks of it, Bombardier going for perhaps a sacrificial stone. Not an item we see too often. Definitely one of those items to have, if you can get it early on in the game, obviously can be very, very useful, get those charges built up. But Bombardier, the typical route we're used to seeing is, something like a Storm Spirit, a Sheepstick, playing that very active ganker support hero. Even a Staff of the Master, arguably, for his ultimate. It's definitely been different opinions on that. But how about a sacrificial stone? What are your thoughts on that item there?
I'd like Fresh's opinion on this once I finish, but I like it simply because if he plays very actively once he has it, Bombardier can pick up a lot of kills, and he can really charge up that Zac Stone, get a whole lot of charges on it, have infinite mana, lots and lots of bonus health, and he really does need that bonus health against this this single target team, a lot of power in bringing down just a single target, but if he's tanky enough, he's one of those heroes that can put out so much damage as the team fight goes on, and I don't think it's likely, but at the same time, it's not completely illogical that we may at some point see some kind of semi-carry build come out for him in similar vein to some of the other intelligence carries. It can just put out constant damage. Boom Dust is a lot of team fight damage if you can just keep spamming it. So I like it. I think it's experimental. I don't think it's bad whatsoever, because he's a very squishy hero that needs a whole lot of mana regen to be effective.
Well, I can't really disagree and say it's bad, because obviously you pointed out its good parts, but I would still any day prefer him going another type of build, like kind of the one No-Tail usually builds, with Tablet of Command and Gnome's Wisdom, because it's kind of an expensive item, and I don't think it has all the good benefits that the smaller, more cheap items have. I think they scale a lot better with them, and they also give you mana regen, and there's team fight.
Possible team fight, but unfortunately, for us, I guess. What the hell? Pharaoh actually jumped back in there. You see Bubbles kind of dropping low, but now Pharaoh trying to run away. And Bubbles is actually going to pour with the Plague Rite ultimate coming out there from the side. It is going to bounce over to Sandwraith, back over to Valkyrie as well. They get the kill on Voodoo Jester. You see the Sandwraith ultimate going out, but he's not expecting to port anywhere. Just using it for harassment purposes. But the Legion team coming back in here. Silver bullet on to Valkyrie, which they're trying to avoid the call to Valkyrie. Not going to happen, though. He goes down, but there goes Valkyrie. And now Sandwraith just tanking the damage that dissipate, dishing out some damage itself, but it's not going to be enough for him to survive. You saw Bubbles throwing a shell there at the last second, not enough. So what seemed like Pharaoh maybe going in a little bit too radically right there by himself, ended up, kind of having the Hellborn team chase him a little bit, and sure enough, that allowed the Legion team to come blindside them and set up some nice team fight potential themselves, and they get the 4 kills to 1 advantage. They're also going to put some pressure here at this top tower, and including the very important kill, of course, on Sandray. So very good play right there from Impunity. I keep saying Imperial. I apologize for that. I believe it is Impunity. But they're up now 13-3 in hero kills, now coming up to the 23-minute mark. And that Malakin, got, as we saw, we didn't even see it actually. He didn't even need a Shrunken Head that last fight, I don't believe. But he has his Shrunken Head Whispering Helm combination. And now he's looking at around 400 gold per minute already as well. So he is in a very good spot at this point. And we talked a lot about that Sandray just being allowed to get some free farm. It was a similar deal to Malakin, of course, and he's definitely a dangerous hero himself. So albeit we're kind of having that good old-fashioned race to see which carry will be stronger come to the later game stage. Malakin at this point, he's actually getting around an 80 gold per minute advantage as well. So he's up there right now, and that's obviously huge for them. Bubbles, not sure what he's expecting to happen right there. He puts the ultimate on. I guess he's expecting a little bit more team support, but did not get it. And, of course, Malakin ports out just fine. But, let's put up that scenario while we do have a little bit of time here. Say both Sandwraith and Malakin just get an absurd farm. They both get crazy farm, looking really good. They got their items of choice. Who do you guys see having the overall advantage with just that stat in there?
Sandray.
I can elaborate on that, because when you have Malakin, it's obviously a lot of DPS and very good initiation, but Sandray is like the perfect initiation, and when he initiates on one hero, and as you said, with a full, very good item build, he's gonna he's gonna at least kill like almost Plague Rider and Witch Slayer. I mean, just one ultimate might even kill them with just a little team support, and that's just gonna be 2 or 3 heroes going down really quick, and then it's gonna be a 3 against 2 or 3 scenario already by the beginning. So I always see Sandwraith coming out on top there, but you just need his team to know what to do after he ultimates.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on top of that, Sandwraith having essentially almost approximately a 20% larger life bar. I know the math doesn't quite compute, but it's a much larger life bar than he actually has because of that dissipate, and also just reflecting 20% of Malikan's damage back at him when that Shrunken Head's on cooldown is pretty significant as well.
Also, a further note, into this game, Sandwraith, he actually got his Mark of Brilliance right now, and even though their team is slagging off 10,000 gold and approximately 6,000 experience, they're still not in a terrible spot. I mean, 26 minutes Mark of Brilliance with Sandwraith, and on top of that is Steam Boots and Helm of the Black Legion. It's actually pretty good, so I'm pretty anxious to see how the next team fight's gonna play out.
Oh yeah, it's gonna. Well, another big team fight item. You're just talking about that. Staff of the Master finished on Bombardier, so he actually sold the Sustainer to finish picking up the last couple of items for the Staff of the Master. Very interesting decision there, but again, as I was talking about earlier, it's definitely back and forth debate on whether or not people think it is the core item on him, but it's picked up here by Ace Frozen Flame, and that it does make the ultimate a lot more powerful. And like you were touching on earlier, Fresh Pro, where if Pharaoh gets a good mummy wall up, maybe even catching a couple of players, it synergizes so well. It allows Bombardier to set up that ultimate precise, and you're talking about a good amount of damage. And speaking of Pharaoh, he goes in right here, he catches Valkyrie. Unfortunately, Valkyrie can leap away though, and as a result, the ultimate not doing too much damage. It does do a bit of damage, and that's an illusion, however. So yeah, the ultimate not doing too well right there. Malikan taking as much damage as possible though. The damage from Sandwraith is a lot, but he's actually going to eventually go down. The Plague Rider ultimate doing so much right there. Good way to get it off just before he went down, and now Bubbles is on the run. Is Malikan not going to chase though? Choosing not to sort though. Interesting decision there, figuring that he was just perhaps going to get away with ease. And if he sort though, might have actually been able to take him out. But Bubbles does get away. Now the Legion team would seem like a good start actually for the Hellborn side. It's a good recovery from the Legion side. Now they're coming in. Hexion and Voodoo Jester is running in recklessly almost, it seems like. Witchslayer is low, however, but Malikan turns his attention to that Voodoo Jester, annihilates him. Port in from Andromeda. But what is she going to do is Pharaoh puts his mummy wall up and he starts to run away. So Hellborn team kind of got turned around right there. We still see Valkyrie trying to chase, maybe land a nice little arrow right here, set up a kill to pick them off, but not going to happen. How about that? I mean, again, the initiation wasn't bad for DDT. Pharaoh got the jump, but it was on Valkyrie. Saw her leap away immediately. The ultimate from Bombardier really didn't hit anyone from the looks of it. Didn't do too much damage, but in the end, Legion team was able to overwhelm them.
Well, the ultimate from Bombardier, because he has that Staff of the Master, forces them to scatter to an extent. They can't really focus their attention on anyone because they can't sit in that napalm. It's a huge amount of damage. And on top of that, you don't want to be too close together when Malikan and Plague Rider are in the game anyways. And it's what Fresh said earlier. If they fight 5 vs 5, DDT has to be the one getting the perfect initiation to win a 5 vs 5 in this game. They're not going to do it otherwise. They don't have the heroes to win a straight up 5 vs 5. They need to get some kind of pick off or some kind of really superb initiation to pull it off.
Yeah, they need to not catch Valkyrie with the Pharaoh ultimate, like we saw again right there. Valkyrie just easily leaps away, of course, and can't really follow it up too effectively. Speaking of Pharaoh, by the way, he picks up a Void Talisman, actually. So wants to prevent all that physical damage coming out once he gets up in the midst of those team fights. I don't know if that's... I mean, because again, you talk about Sandwraith, he's putting out a lot of dissipate damage as well, which is magic damage. And of course, the Void Talisman increases that magic damage done, so it is a dangerous item to pick up, to say the least. So we do have the middle tower being pressured, but Sandwraith using his port in. I'm not sure which one that is a real one. You still see the Valkyrie ultimate going off. Bombardier lays down his ultimate at the ramp. Sorry for the zoom in and out. My mouse is bugging out on me right now, but Andromeda's going to get picked off. And it looks like now a chase is on down here. Sandwraith actually trying to run away, but he's going to go down. Good trap with the mummy roll right there from Pharaoh. Malikan also picking off players. Good job with the Voodoo Jester ultimate. Not going to be nearly enough, though. Takes out Voodoo Jester. Malikan just trying to stay alive. He is stunned. He cannot get the life steal going. And Valkyrie actually finishes off Malikan. So in the end, a 4 versus 4 exchange. As we see, Miss Air got a lot of those kills in there, but Know-It-All helping to clean up at least with a double tap himself. And now we have him trying to chase down this Pharaoh, but there goes the Void Talisman use. And not going to be able, didn't even use to call the Valkyrie actually, but might have just been coming off cooldown, but Pharaoh will get out. So ends up being a 1 versus 1 fight in the end. So these team fights, we talked about this earlier, it's going to be fun to watch them, and so far it seems like it's been really back and forth, fairly even, at least especially after that one, obviously, with the numbers. This Valkyrie is starting to get pretty powerful herself, too. Now with 2,100 gold saved up, 270 gold per minute, and also level 16 at this point. But, another fun team fight right there.
Yeah, and that's where I was going at right in the beginning, because as good as the Legion team's heroes are, they only got Malikan to deal out that late game DPS carry style, and on the Hellborn they got Sandwraith obviously, and then Valkyrie if she gets a good farm. So far she's on the way to getting a good farm and initiation on Andromeda, and she's gonna die.
Yeah, not much chance for her there. But I mean, how about this? It's kind of funny because you look at that. This is why stats can be deceiving. I mean, you look at Imp stats. They're right now up 21 to 8 in hero kills. They got a 10,000 plus gold lead and 8,000 plus experience lead. I don't know. Something's telling me though. I'm not feeling as comfortable as maybe as it should be in terms of Imp being ahead as really they are right now. We have Malikan getting locked down a little bit, but more so for defense as they fall back. But yeah, I mean, this Sandwraith farm, it is very, very good. Like we said, just those trio of items right there, Steam Boots, Mocker Brilliance, and Helm of the Black Legion allow him to do a good chunk of damage, and with his AoE especially, and it's just a matter now if the team can follow up well. And that Valkyrie, she now has her Geometer's Bane, so we're looking at a decent amount of damage from her. Bubbles, of course Andromeda and Voodoo Jester have been struggling in the levels. Definitely those type of heroes that can recover, though. Oh, look at this, though. Valkyrie Ultimate going to be used. They're not really chasing. They're trying to chase Plague Rider. Not going to happen, though. Can they? No, Plague Rider snipes the double damage rune with his auto attack. Picks up the kill there, and Pharaoh jumps out of nowhere. He actually catches a couple of players. That's exactly what they were looking for. The Bombardier ultimate goes off. Voodoo Jester gets annihilated. Valkyrie did get out of there, but she took quite a bit of damage. We see Sandwraith actually porting in, however. Look at that dissipate damage. Not going to be enough, though, to get any kills, and Sandwraith goes down. There's a hat trick coming out. Again, Know-It-All trying to pick up some kills here, and all of a sudden, wow, the Legion team just die right there. The AoE from Sandwraith did so much damage. It allowed Bubbles to help follow up with Valkyrie and get all those kills. Malikan, of course, still alive, trying to chase Bubbles. Bubbles are going to port out, and now Valkyrie's on the run. She has her leap ability, though, be able to use it right here, and now she has the range distance. So, yeah, she's going to be fine. Bubbles running back in. They're not going to be able to catch Malikan, though. But, yeah, I mean, again, despite Sandwraith dying, he did a lot of AoE damage and helped or allowed Bubbles and Valkyrie to clean up right there. How about that fight?
It was really solid initiation from the Legion for sure, and the Dissipate, you could feel the damage from the Dissipate, even if you were just watching the game. You have no stake in this besides pure entertainment value. You could just see how much damage those supports were taking as Malikan DPS'd down Sandwraith, and the more hit points Sandwraith gets, the more brutal that's going to be, because as Sandwraith farms up, the supports are going to be sitting there, warding, counter-warding, maybe getting an item here and there, but not enough to keep up with the damage that's going to keep coming out from that Dissipate on top of that Maka Brilliant. At the same time, however, Malikan finished his Charged Hammer, so that's a pretty brutal pickup coming on his end as well.
Yeah, it is, but going back to that again, he can get as fast, as much damage as he wants. But if he's hitting on that the Sandwraith, You saw like we did last time. Speaking of Malakin, he's not actually in this team fight right here. A little bit of a comeback, though. Good job by Pharaoh going in. And actually, they pick out both Bubbles and Voodoo Chester right there. And now trying to snipe down Andromeda. And it looks like they will be successful. Oh, good arrow right there attempt. Not going to hit either one, though. And all of a sudden, a 3-man up here for the Legion team. Expect them to push something. But another point I wanted to touch on, about Pharaoh was, again, you look back at that Void Talisman pickup. That's what I was talking about. You have a lot of damage coming out of Magic, not only from Sandwich from his Dissipate, but you also got Bubbles. I mean, he's doing a decent amount himself. What do you think about that pickup, Fresh? And do you think something like a Shaman's Headdress into even a Barrier Idol may have been ultimately a better investment? But before we get into that, we do have Pharaoh kind of cutting off Sandwich and Valkyrie here. Probably going to sacrifice his life, though, as they were doing the Congo attempt. Not going to happen, however. Pharaoh goes down. A sloppy attempt here from Imp, really. And now the chase is on in favor of DDT. A good graveyard stun should buy them perhaps enough time. Arrow's going to come out. Oh, it is going to hit Malakin. And they're going to take out Malakin with ease right there. Playing on ultimate, though, that's going to do a great bounce. And actually, Sandwraith is dropping fairly low himself. But again, you always have to be wary of that Dissipate, and Plague Hunter goes down, as well as Witch Slayer. And now Bombardier trying to prevent the genocide. Can he pour it out in time? No, he cannot. Down he goes. Genocide for the Hellborn team. Again, Sandwraith dies, but at least they clean up, and they are going to get a Kongor kill as well. Holy crap. DDT, you look at the gold advantage, you look at the hero kill advantage. I mean, everything is saying that the Legion team should be ahead, but DDT is hanging in there. The Sandwraith is very powerful, and despite dying, still doing enough to win these team fights.
Well, I think it's one of those situations where... Go ahead, Fresh.
Okay, well, first on the Void Talisman pickup on Pharaoh, it's really awful. You can get a tablet instead. That would be way more useful. Or even as you said, get like a barrier idol, so your support low HP heroes won't die that fast when sent with ultimates. And yeah, then that team fight, oh my, it was just very, very sloppy from the Legion. You know, Pharaoh going in, being caught, and then the rest of them getting under half HP to Kongor. It was just not what they wanted to do right now, because now they only have a small experience lead, and that's really a bad sign when you're one carry team Malakin up against Sandwraith and a Valkyrie, because it's gonna be really hard for the supports to take out those two heroes, because they're very, how can you call it, like agile. Valkyrie got her jump, and Sandwraith got the Desert Curse, so they both have very, very good escape mechanisms, so it's going to be really tough to take them out in the team fight.
Yeah, can't agree with you more. Go ahead, Hippie.
I was just going to say that with the 2-carry team versus the 1-carry team, as Fresh is emphasizing, I think it's one of those games where once you're past the 30-35 minute mark, every extra minute into the game is giving the Hellborn team just a little bit closer, getting them a little bit bigger of an advantage, as long as Valkyrie and Sandwraith are farming and not getting picked off, which they are most of the time. Like Fresh said, they're very, very mobile heroes who are able to escape from a lot of sticky situations with the Desert's Curse and the Leap.
Yeah, this really is just an odd game, again, because, again, you look back at the stats as, oh, Bubbles gets caught right here. He used his turtle shell to farm, and that was a great reaction from Imp, as they pretty much noticed that. Pharaoh went and caught him, and easy kill as well as a tower kill, and all of a sudden, numbers advantage for Imp right here, and, you know, it's... They definitely should feel confident in trying to make a push here now. Are they going to, though, is the question. We do have them, Malakin's kind of creeping up a little bit, maybe not fully confident. Of course, you know, with Bubbles being down, that is a good chunk of AoE that this Hellborn team is missing. So I really think if any time, this is where Imp perhaps needs to take the advantage. And like you said, Hippie, it's the longer this game goes on, every single minute past the 35-minute mark, you know, it seems like it just gets more and more in favor of DDT with their lineup. And we'll see. They are going to wait for the next creep wave right here, and then they're going to look to go in. Again, that charged hammer has been finished on Malakin, so he's working with that now as well. He has another 2,200 gold currently saved up on top of that. Bubbles is going to be up now in 5 seconds, though. This is the problem. It took them a little bit long to push it, and now Bubbles is actually resurrected right here. They're going to try to jump onto Valkyrie. No follow-up, though, despite the hex. However, Malakin charges in there, opens up with his ultimate, doing a lot of damage. A good Bombardier ultimate as well, dropping Valkyrie kind of low, but you'll look at Sandwraith. He was just cleaning up in the meantime, just chasing back the support of Malakin. So, oh man, Malakin is also going to get locked down right here. He will go down, and Sandwraith is just chasing this Pharaoh now, of course, using the Void Talisman. And, ooh, not going to be enough for the kill. It does get out, but a classic case right there of, you know, the Hellborn team. It's why should they focus Malakin if they could just focus everyone else around and drop them low and take them out and force them to run away and just leave Malakin by himself like we saw right there. So just a good, smart overall play from DDT. And again, Imp, you know, it's at that point you pretty much have to fall back. Either fall back or just go in committed. It seemed like it was really a split right there, and they really did get split up. And, well, DDT came out on top, and now they're pushing the top or bottom lane as a result.
Sandwraith picked up his Ice Brand and a Mystic Vestments, by the way.
Yeah, he's...
Oh, and Bubbles with a Portal Key and a Mystic Vestments. Some really nice pickups. I like all the magic armor here on the Hellborn team, because just look at a lot of this team fight damage. Let's see here. If you look at the hero damage, it's primarily coming from the Legion side. From Malakin, obviously has the most, but then look at Bombardier. He's not that far behind. He deals huge amounts of massive AOE damage in those team fights, and being able to cut that by, it's like an additional 25% or something with just the Mystic Vestments, I think, or an additional 20% or so. I don't remember exactly. Actually, I can look at it. All right, it's like 24% more than what it was. And that's pretty significant. Like,
yeah, it's definitely just having the Mystic Vestments alone is, of course, is a very big deal for this Hellborn team, like you said, especially because of that Bombardier. But even for something like that, Plague Rider is launching off those ultimates, obviously, in those team fights. And you know that there's a good chance that it will continue to bounce because of all those Sandwraith illusions. Obviously, they're absorbing that damage, but still it has a better chance to bounce. But yeah, so having those Mystic Vestments is very smart, of course, for the Hellborn team. But again, it goes back to the Legion team. You talk about Mystic Vestments being on the Hellborn team. Where is it on the Legion team? They're dealing with a lot of magic damage themselves, yet no one has Mystic Vestments. And like we were talking about earlier, perhaps a Barrier Idol wouldn't be a horrible investment, but no one has any intentions at this point of going for that. In fact, Pharaoh, the ideal hero, which you would expect, has picked up an Acolyte Staff. So, well, I mean, which it still can definitely turn into a powerful item, sure, you know, a Sheep Stick or a Frostfield Plate, but you look back at that and wonder. You play the wonder game. But go ahead, Fresh.
Yeah, I'm just, I don't know, a bit confused as well as you are about the Pharaoh build. And it's, you know, I usually think that my Pharaoh builds are the best, because I haven't seen anyone else make something good. Like, you adapt to what the opponent's lineup is and what they're doing, and then you make the perfect counter with Pharaoh to support your team. Like, if they lack magic damage, then you get a Barrier Idol. And it's, I don't know, he could maybe go for a Frostfield Plate to sort of make Sandwraith and Valkyrie less mobile, so maybe Malakin can catch them and kill them fast. But it's really a tough, they're in a really tough spot right now, the Imps, since their heroes are starting to get less and less effective against this very beefy Sandwraith, who already got his Frostwolf skull now, and Valkyrie working for, I don't know what she's doing after that jumper to Spain, but she still have a token of life, so Hellborn team is in a very good spot.
It seems like Bombardier keeps wanting to perhaps even go for a null stone with the sustainer, but this is twice now he's either sold it or split it up, and this time he split it up to make his sheep stick, which again is a very powerful item. So can't really debate it. I mean, what is actually? I'm curious. What is your thought, Fresh, on a null stone pickup going up against someone like a Sandwraith? Because again, it does obviously block out his ultimate, and so one of his illusions wouldn't happen. I mean, do you think it's that worth it to get a null stone, or is it really not worth it?
No, that's not worth it at all. It's just one Sandwraith illusion. There's gonna be at least 4, and then the original, that's 5 Sandwraith. So one more, one less, it doesn't even matter. It's not worth to waste the 4,800 or something like that it costs. You could have gone for a lot better item than that.
Yeah. All right, well, Legion team, all 5 of them up here at the top side, pushing it, but now they have a decision to make. Do they fall back and defend? It looks like they are. Sandwraith is pushing the bottom lane. In fact, he's still hanging up there. He's finished his Frost with Skull, as you can see, and Witchslayer is actually going to catch him right here. Oh, can they keep him locked down long enough? He does not have a token of life or anything. The Sheep Sticks to follow. Can they get the kill on Sandwraith? Yes, they can. A huge kill right there for the Legion team. Here comes the Hellborn team, though, trying to wrap up. They kill both Witchslayer and Plague. I've seen it so many times. Sandwraith just does so much damage just by dying that the rest of the players can come in and clean up. And now Malik is taking a lot of pressure. Out comes a good Bombardier ultimate right there, going to kill Voodoo Jester. And actually Valkyrie's going to be forced to leap away before she can take out Malik. And she comes back in, drops, but now Malakin, he needs to get away right now. No, he's going to go for the lifesteal, but it's just not going to be nearly enough. Valkyrie comes through with the kill. Pharaoh going to use a Void Talisman right there. Call the Valkyrie comes out. More damage from that. Here comes the auto attacks. Here Frost of Skull as well. And will more than likely finish off the genocide right here. You see Bubbles and Andromeda coming out from cleaning up Bombardier. And there's the kill on Pharaoh. So genocide for DDT. We've seen it 4 or 5 times throughout this game. They get the kill on Sandwraith, but then everyone else comes in and cleans up. It's just so ridiculous that can just keep on happening, but that's the case. It almost kind of makes you wonder if Imp, they should just stop focusing Sandwraith. They should be going after other heroes, but in that case, obviously that was just a matter of picking them off, so they really didn't have a decision there, but it's so tough if you're Imp right now, because what do? They really executed that so well. They locked down Sandwraith, got the kill. They got the kill before the support really came in, but they took so much damage from that dissipating Mock of Brilliance.
Well, if you as they obviously. Go ahead, Fred. Okay, sorry. They use most of their disables and their single target hero killers, so they don't have much to take down the Hellborn's remaining carry, Valkyrie, with, and actually Witchslayer's gonna go down there. So they're actually even gonna look to get some axes here. But yeah, it's gonna come down to that the Hellborn, they still have a carry. If Sandwraith dies, you know, peace be with that. We still got a Valkyrie who's fed as hell, so it's, yeah, I don't know. It seems that, as Hibby also mentioned earlier, that the longer this game prolongs, the more favorites going to be in the Hellborn team. So they're even having a 10,000 experience lead now. So it's looking grim for the Legion side.
Go ahead, Hippie.
Yeah, I can't help but agree. I was just gonna say that if we look at Sandwraith's hit point pool, we see 2750. That's a little less than 600 damage is gonna be dissipated when you take out his entire health bar. I'm gonna stop now because Malik can just initiate.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of Plague Rider ultimates, Bombardier doing his thing, but you see just Valkyrie. I mean, you talked about that. We talked about Sandwraith so much, about Valkyrie. She's so farmed herself. She ends up getting taken out right there, actually. And the Legion team cleans up. Did Malakin? No, he did die. Oh, man. You saw him try to use a homecoming stone right there to pour it out, but the Voodoo Jester cursed ground was on him, and he ended up exploding just before the port happened. So, hey, at least they took out Malakin just before they pretty much got wrapped up right there, but yeah, a good job, though, by Imp in the long run. They cleaned them up at least. They saved the middle racks. Yes, I'm sure it was just a lot of it was overextending by DDT. Again, one of those situations where you're really feeling confident. You're trying to end the game right there rather than playing smart, you could say. But hey, you can't blame them. They're in a very good spot now and well on their way to perhaps forcing that Game 3. that Malikan kill was huge, actually. I mean, if Malikan didn't go down right there, this would be the Legion team. They could actually go take out Conger right now, perhaps, and get a token of life. But because he ended up dying there at the last second, that's not going to happen. So what was maybe a slight chance of Imp trying to get a little bit of a comeback here, it's all for not going to happen simply because of that curse from Voodoo Jester. Now Sandwraith back to what he does best, so just farming here at the top lane, going to push it in and going to keep the pressure up here on this here on Imp here, as the tower at half-life will more than likely take it out. No, there's actually pings going on Conger over here. We'll see if they run over there now, but yeah, that sucks for the Legion team. Malikan just resurrecting right now, but if he was still up, very likely could have at least gone for a Conger attempt, perhaps.
Yeah, a Conger kill for the Legion team could, because we've seen that Malikan, he can really get it done, and he's been putting out a lot of damage for the entire game. And if they had a second life bar on him to deal with the Valkyrie after they had already dealt with the Sandwraith, they might have a shot. But at the same time, like Fresh said, they pretty much have to burn everything just to kill that Sandwraith as fast as possible, and it already puts them in a bad position by taking out so many of their hit points with that Dissipate, and if he drops his Mirage, it's even more AoE damage, and the Mach. He gets a lot of damage in even if you focus him down and just pop him as soon as the fight starts. So I'm not totally sure it would be perfect, but at the same time, you can never say no to a token of life.
Well, it looks like it's, the Hellborn team at least, they're using the double damage ring on Sammy to try to take out Conger right here. Legion team knows, though. They're going to port it with Pharaoh right here. The Bombardier ultimate right on top. Again, though, really did a lot of damage to Sandwraith, but that's it. He's going to spread a lot of that damage, and now here comes the rest of the follow-up, but Valkyrie just putting out too much auto-attack. Sandwraith is still alive. You see Pharaoh now just trying to waddle away himself. Malikan, in the meantime, just dishing out a good chunk of damage himself. He might kill Sandwraith. Yes, he will, but he explodes right after. Oh, he actually ninja'd the token of life as well, so he actually picked that up. Oh, man, it's 3 versus 1 here, though. He needs to try to get away. He's not going to do that. He's just going to try to fight, go for the lifesteal. It's not going to be enough, though. He's going to get locked down here. Ooh, a panic sword right there. Not going to matter anyways. Goes down. And, well, they did end up getting the token of life, but obviously not the ideal circumstance. And Sandwraith is like, well, I can just buy back anyways. I'm crazy farmed. Despite that buyback, he still has another 2,500 gold already saved up. So, yeah, this is very likely. They don't need a token of life to push right here. They're just going to push now and perhaps end this game. So this looks like we are going to be heading towards a Game 3 here. That's always makes it exciting in Best of 3 series, having a Game 3. You got quite the even matchup. We'll see what happens here. Again, there's this losers bracket here, the GosuGamers event. This is a Honcast Daily that you're tuning into. Thanks for tuning in. Got one more game coming up, it looks like, as they're now just going to clean up the racks. Resurrection's happening, but without Malikan and Bombardier especially, there's just nothing that the Legion team can do in terms of damage. So they can only just sit back and watch at this point.
Sandwraith. You asked at the beginning of the game, or near the beginning, Malikan versus Sandwraith. Who wins it?
Yeah. I guess we are seeing that. Well, the funny thing is, I mean, again, you go back to it's. I guess you do. It is a team game after all. It obviously isn't just a 1 versus 1, but Sandwraith has died quite a bit throughout this game in a lot of these team fights, but it's because he does so much damage before he dies with his Dissipate and just his AoE damage in general, as well as just his single target physical, of course, that by the time he's dead, I mean, as Fresh talked about earlier too, the Legion team, they've used so much on the Sandwraith alone as well that these other heroes just come in and clean up, and Valkyrie, that's where Valkyrie comes in especially. She's done a really good job herself, and ultimately made it a very smart pickup as well, and getting her very powerful farm. And she's been the big deal in cleaning up, of course. But as a whole, of course, DDT, they definitely all deserve a lot of credit. All played very well. So the game isn't over yet, but again, it's at this point, it's just a stats time, it seems like. Legion team hoping that they still have a chance, but I just don't see it. We've seen several times now in the last 10 minutes or so that DDT is just getting too powerful.
Well, if the Hellborn team, if they bought full items so they didn't have to rebuy, and they went for a full-on kamikaze, and they would like all die, and then the Legion could push and win, it's doable, but I don't really see it coming at all.
No, it's always doable, but yeah, it's like you pretty much stated. It would take quite a bit of unfortunate circumstances for the Hellborn team, which is bad decision making and yeah, and whatnot. So I don't think that's going to happen. But you are right. There's always a chance. But it seems like Sandwraith, he's been sitting just on what he has. He still has his hatchet. In fact, that's this late in the game. You obviously expect that to be dropped by now, but still has it. But anyways, it's been enough and. At this point, he's just saving up for buybacks, like he should, really. He's already bought back, I believe, twice now, and he's just letting Valkyrie do the upgrades, and Valkyrie now picking up a Savage Mace as well, so she is dishing out quite a bit of damage herself. And then you got to remember that when Andromeda's nearby, it's just that much more, as I'm sure. Oh, she actually went the Comet Max at first. We never really talked about that, but she did go the Comet Max rather than the Aura, but she has level 3 Aura, so still quite a bit. And I'm sure playing enough of a role. Pharaoh's going to go in right here. Here's a last standing chance here for the Legion team. Malikan comes in as well with the ultimate, activating the Shrunken Head, trying to do as much damage as possible in the background, picking off other players, and he's doing a decent job of that. Meanwhile, Pharaoh or Plague God is going to go down, but Malikan now trying to pick off this Andromeda. It's just not going to happen, though. He gets to kill on Voodoo Jester, but Sandwraith tanking him right in front of him. Malikan ports into the jungle, but Sandwraith follows right on top of him, and you see Malikan just explode right there. So a last-ditch effort for the Legion team. Not successful, and now I wouldn't be surprised to see the actual concede come out. If not, Hellborn team could just push this anyways.
Yeah, well played by both teams, but it's been over for a bit now, and we started to see the tables turn. I think around the 30-35 minute mark, which is usually, in my mind, when you have to end it if you know you're at a carry disadvantage.
See Pharaoh running up there, harassing them. So seems like they're one of these teams that don't like to concede. But okay, there we go. There's a vote to concede, and there it passes. So GG, well played. But yeah, like you stated as well, it's a solid play from both teams really. But in the end, the universal question is: Sandwraith the better farm, or Sandwraith or Malikan? Will he win the later game? Clearly, Sandwraith showed that he can do quite a bit. And definitely helped his team come out on top here. So that's going to do it for Game 2. Again, Game 3, of course, coming up next. Going to jump right into it as soon as possible. But as for this one, again, I was Breaky CPK, your shoutcasting host. Joining me was Hippie the Honcast staff, as well as special guest Fresh Pro from Clan Fanatic MSI. Always fun to have him on and helping us out. That's going to do it for Game 2. Game 3 coming up next, though. The winner, they stay alive here in the GosuGamers event. The loser, they unfortunately have to go home and be done with the GosuGamers event. So we'll see what happens. Stay tuned. Game 3 coming up next.